Hello, and welcome to Our Diversity Unites Us, another installment of the G100 Oneness and Wisdom Wing Initiative. I am your host, Tanya Mattox, G100 USA Country Chair, and I am delighted to introduce you to the Communications and Advocacy Wing today. And before we get to that, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Dr. Anastacia Lewis, G100 Nassau Country Chair.
Good morning, everyone. It's morning in my neck of the woods. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I am the country chair for the Bahamas, and I'm excited to be here with you, Tanya. So thank you for allowing me to share this platform with you today. We are very, very excited about this communication wing. And so because you are in charge, let me know when it's time to edify the wing and what all the wing is going to do. So if you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you, Anastacia. What we'll do today is introduce our illustrious panelists. The Communication and Advocacy Wing will share with us their mandate and what they do individually to enhance the overall G100 wing. I will be introducing the panelists in order that they appear on the flyer. And first, we have our illustrious global wing of the Communication and Advocacy, our illustrious global chair of the Communications and Advocacy wing. From Portugal, we have Linda Pereira. Linda Pereira, entrepreneur, international consultant, communication and PR expert, message architect, speaker, trainer, meeting industry expert, and activist. Linda Pereira is the senior partner and CEO of the L&I Communications Group. In addition to her long and respected career as one of the most influential voices in the meetings industry, she is respected internationally as a communication strategist, speaker, writer, and educator. She has been an invited speaker in over 149 cities and all continents. She also is proud of being invited to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a keynote speaker at a national event. Internationally known as the Destination Diva for her work in destination promotion and branding, she has played an active role in many events. Actually, Linda has been in the last 30 years' most important events. She is invited lecturer in three international universities where she lectures on strategic meetings management, corporate diplomacy, destination branding, and international protocol. She is recognized for her efficiency and professionalism and thinking outside the box. She is considered one of Europe's most influential voices in the industry and has received various awards from around the world. This is only a brief overview of Linda's accomplishments. Linda, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think we've heard a lot about me. I'd rather we hear about the other people. But thank you for inviting me, and it's such an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will be talking with you soon. Next, I would like to introduce panelist Sailesh Nathan from the United Arab Emirates. Sailesh Nathan is president of the Diplomat Summit Companies of London and India, a global enterprise which connects private and public sectors across borders. Mr. Sailesh Nathan was recognized in the Forbes Top 100 for his entrepreneurial expertise for the last 25 years in the Middle East. Mr. Nathan has received the top 100 global sustainable leaders by World Sustainability. Sailesh Nathan, would you like to add to your information?
Good evening, everybody. Tanya, good evening. What a pleasure to be here. What an honor to be over here. And it is such a delight. And I'm so honored. I'm so blessed to be over here. But I think so. This is good enough. We're good to go. And we will continue very soon. So thank you so much. And a big, big thanks and hugs to Linda for giving this opportunity to getting me on board over here. It is amazing. Love you.
Thank you so much. Next, I'd like to introduce Nancy Allen from the USA. Nancy G. Allen is an international speaker, coach, consultant, author, and expert on women's business issues. She has been helping small business owners at all stages of growth for over 30 years. Nancy is the author of two books: The Decision to Scale, 25 Tips for Women Owned Businesses Looking to Grow, and The Decision to Start, 25 Tips for a Second Career as a Woman Business Owner. Nancy, good to have you. Would you like to add anything to?
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I am very excited to be here and excited to hear the other panelists and to share some tips.
Great. Thank you so much. Good to have you. Next, we have Doris Parsons from Tanzania. Doris Parsons is a communication and public relations strategist and with an exceptional background in corporate communications and corporate social responsibility. Media relations and public advocacy are also her expertise. She developed the Youth Entrepreneurship Training Program in Tanzania among the Equinor Heroes of Tomorrow, CSR. The training helped to raise awareness of the impact of the oil and gas industry in southern Tanzania. Welcome, Doris. Would you like to add anything for the audience to know?
Thank you so very much for the warm welcome. It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you, Linda, for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to be with all the other amazing panelists. And I really look forward to the session. But the only thing I would say I'd add over there, I'm an incredibly proud mother of a 13-year-old, vivacious young girl who thinks she's 23. So.
Any parent of a teenager would know that. Thank you, Doris.
Thank you, Tanya.
And pulling up the end of our panelists, our illustrious panelists, we have Nino Lortkipanidze. Nino is a wonderful business advocate. Nino has experience in financial and strategic management across different industries and sectors and has held top management positions. Nino immigrated to the tech field and brought her knowledge and experience to support the development of the Georgia startup ecosystem. In addition to having extensive experience on corporate finance, taxation, and operational management, Nino is a tireless advocate of women's rights. She serves as a Women in Tech ambassador in Georgia. Nino, welcome. And is there anything you'd like
to know
in addition?
Thank you for a warm welcome. It's a huge honor to be a speaker on this panel together with my fellow panelists. I'm open to contribute all the knowledge and experience that I have accumulated over, and let's not specify how many years.
Well, we are so glad to have all of you. This is exciting to have such a wonderful, wonderful introduction to the communications and advocacy wing. And at this time, I would like for our Bahamas country chair and moderator, Dr. Anastacia Lewis, begin our conversation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tanya. But before we start our conversation and questions, just to educate our audience, G100 is an eminent and powered group of the top 100 powerful women leaders in the world with a vision for the future, and it includes Nobel laureates, former heads of state ministers, business women, philanthropists, investors, entrepreneurs, corporate and community leaders, all joined in a path and purpose to create massive opportunities for women in the world. But today, we have the communication and advocacy wing with us, and I want to tell you what they're all about: effective communication that helps to build relationships, to connect others, to change mindsets, to promote trust, fuel innovation, because 2023 is a year of change and innovation, and to help to advance and generate support for causes, ideas, and democracy while empowering both men and women to achieve their full potential. The wing embraces private and public responsibility for women by promoting this decade as a decade that is going to help from gender parity and women's leadership. I'm excited about that because I like that. And it's all about co-working, collaboration, cooperation, communication, because this is the communication way, cohesion, and the collection of efforts. And so we all are the voice for the good of all. And so now I'm going to go into the question, and the goal today is so important, and I'm so happy, and I welcome all of you to the platform. And so now I'm going to start the questioning, and I'm going to start the questioning with the global chair. I'm excited to do that, and so welcome again, Linda, to this platform. We're excited to have you here. And so I'm just going to pose this first question to you today. And so here is your question. Your question is, as someone who has been advocating for gender parity for many, many years, are you seeing progress? That's what I need to know. Are you seeing that women are getting more opportunity, more funding? And what would you suggest to be the way forward for more women to be equipped as being entrepreneurs, to be able to make a difference in the world? We want to know about the progress. What do you see?
Hello, everyone. And that's actually a brilliant question. And it's just something that makes my blood boil. Yes, we were advancing quietly but steadily, and then we had a pandemic. And the pandemic has actually brought us backwards. We've lost a lot of the things that we had conquered. And suddenly the OECD announces that it will take 230 years for parity. 230 years, not on my watch. Okay, it has become a ridiculous conversation. I have always defended what we defend in general. I think any educated, talented person will defend that talent has absolutely no gender. Talent is about talent, but it's way beyond talent. It's about social roles and social mindsets. It's about social responsibility. It's about recognizing that it takes everyone to move the world forward. It's about much more than professional issues. It's about equity, in fact. So it's about equity in the family, equity in society, equity in our voices. We women have also been greatly responsible for some of the negative things around us because we don't often use our voice. Some because we simply can't. Let's look at Afghanistan, etc. Some because we don't dare. Some of us because we live in this imposter syndrome philosophy. And some of us because, and I know a lot, because once we get there, we forget to bring somebody with us. Now, we have arrived at a time in our world's history where things are simply not acceptable. And no, I don't think we're getting the right funding. No, I don't think we're using the right language. No, I don't think that we are taught still, education is still not teaching women how to present their case and defend their ideas correctly and professionally. Women get, now sit back, women get 4 cents in every 100 in funding. 4 cent out of every 100. This is completely ridiculous. Now, what we have found is that in cases where there are no names on the project, the funding will be there. There is this blind philosophy that women will go off and have children, so they won't invest themselves in their businesses. Women will go off and not be committed to their businesses. All of these things are things from the 20th century, yet we're still quoting the same conversation in the 21st century. It's not acceptable. And my wing is literally focused on being the voice of women, raising the voice of women, and advocating to change mindsets. What we have to educate, we have to remember that half of the world are women and the other half are our sons. It is our job to educate our sons, and it is our job to make sure that we raise our voices for every woman. And like my grandmother said, and I will end with this, we have two arms. One is to hold on as we climb the ladder. The other one is to bring another woman with us. If we're not doing that, we're not being socially responsible.
Oh, wow. You just said everything right there. There is no doubt in my mind that you are definitely a key person just to keep this message going. We appreciate the information that you've shared with us. And it's really food for thought. And we must get in there and do more as women. You've just boosted me as well. So thank you so much for your answer. And now I'm going to go over to Doris. Oh my goodness. Y'all are getting me excited. I'm trying to calm down here. So Doris, I have the question for you because I'm on a high right now. So here's what it is. Here's your question, right? You have been instrumental in youth developing a youth entrepreneurship training program. What are some of the areas that are covered in this program, and what do you suggest should be done to get more young people in the headspace of entrepreneurship?
Thank you so much, Dr. Anastacia, for your question. Again, that's a very important question. It is a very pertinent question, not just for Tanzania, where I am from, and not just for Africa, but I believe it's a very important question for the entire world to address and to answer. If at all we are going to move from the place that we are now to a place where we can all have economic equity and economic growth. So yeah, in terms of youth entrepreneurship programs, to be honest, I have done a number of those over the years. I have implemented, I have led, and I have initiated quite a number of those. So I can't speak about all of them here in this platform, but maybe let me just start from, the beginning in terms of what made me to even be interested in youth in the first place. Now, of course, not so many years ago, I was a youth myself. And at the time, I do remember vividly, it was incredibly difficult as a young person to make strides or to move from one, to move in a trajectory direction where I felt that I was achieving my dreams, where I was able to do what I wanted to do in life, because simply, there were absolutely no resources available, no information available. And as Linda said earlier, there was no one to lift me up or lift other youth up where they had already gone. So that in itself became a challenge. And yes, thankfully, I am here today simply because those challenges that existed at the time, I was able to overcome. And so for me, I'm thinking as a parent raising a young daughter and a young surrounded by youth, I feel an incredible passion to say, you know what, if I manage to get out of this rut, then I need to try and get as many as I possibly can, even if it's just one out of that rut, almost like a domino effect and pay it forward kind of situation. So my desire to implement youth entrepreneurship programs, it was born from simply the increasing number of unemployment rate amongst the youth. It still is, let me not say it still is insane. If I speak of Tanzania alone, about 51% of youth, and by youth I mean between the ages of 18 to 24, are unemployed. And these, I'm talking about university graduates. Now imagine if you're a young person, you spent your entire life going to school, studying what you want to study, believing in what you're going to be after you study. You finish your university education, and suddenly you cannot get a job at all. You search high and low, you cannot get a job. You knock on all manner of doors, nobody's opening those doors for you because they're asking for experience, or there's just not enough jobs going around. And so young people who have graduated end up discouraged, end up having to be involved in other things and in other activities that completely change the trajectory of their lives. They get involved in drugs. I mean, we can't even begin to mention what young people get involved in as a result of missing out on unemployment. But then here's the thing, and this is what I thought, young people, it is not a job. It doesn't mean that somebody employed you and offered you employment. You could create your own employment by starting your own business. And in doing so, you could open up other opportunities for other youth to be employed in your own business or in your own organization. In other words, started to encourage young people that as you think about employment, it's not only about you being employed somewhere else, but you could be an entrepreneur, and then you could open up doors for other young people to be employed through you. In other words, you don't think about who's going to employ you. Think about who you are going to employ. So my entrepreneurship journey, or rather youth program, was born out of that need, that we needed to do something for those of us who could, to start opening up doors and to start encouraging young people to join the entrepreneurship world. Now, has this been easy? Absolutely not. Simply because, as a norm and as a societal norm, young people are taught from their families that, once you go to university, you graduate, you're going to be a doctor. You go to university, you graduate, you're going to be a lawyer. Not many people tell their children that once you graduate, or in fact, don't go to university at all, how about you explore the avenue of owning your own business? Not many, especially not many. I'm speaking about Tanzania now. I don't know about the statistics outside of my country, but not so many. And so the program that I want to talk about today very briefly is the one where it was based on encouraging young people in the southern region of Tanzania to think about entrepreneurship as a viable option once they have left university. And the southern region of Tanzania is the oil and gas region, where oil is that is predominantly the oil and gas region. Plenty of opportunities. Think about it. When there's oil and gas investment, how much opportunity is there for young people to start their own businesses or to be involved and at least to benefit from that kind of investment? So along with a group of other young people, off we went. We were working under sponsorship of another organization who said, go there, go south, begin to speak to the youth in the area. Could be university graduates, could be potential university graduate students who are still in school, and talk to them about, first of all, the opportunity that exists. Talk to them about that.
Okay, so what we're going to do,
see if they already have.
What we're going to do, Doris, I'm going to come back and for you to, I have another question for you with regards to the program, so I'll come back to you.
Right.
So you dive into that quick.
Sure.
Let me just get on to I'll come back to you with that program because I'm interested in hearing that. But I want to go to other speakers because I just want to get a question out here quickly and then dive back into you, Doris. So just give us a moment. So our next speaker would be Nancy. And so Nancy, I want you to tell us quickly, it is obvious, very obvious, that you're passionate about helping women in business. And so what I want to know is, what is your determinant factor that allowed you to be committed, to remain committed to helping these women do business for over 30 years? And I think that's important because 30 years is a long time. So what was the determining factor for you to make that commitment and then a quick tip on how you inspire them to scale and take their businesses to the next level. Quickly.
Thank you.
In about,
Yeah.
in about 3 to 4 minutes, please.
Sure. So thank you for that question. So I am going to confess that I'm actually old enough to have seen what it was like for women before 1980 and to witness and live what it's been like for women after 1980. So before 1980, it was very difficult for a woman, a single woman, to even have a credit card in her name and no loans without a husband. So I have a personal story of my mom who wanted to purchase a home, and she went to the bank where she had her savings at the time. And this was such a big deal for our family that my mom actually took my brother and me out of school, which she would never have done. So we went to, the three of us went to the bank. And when she was asked, why are you here? How can we help you? She said, I'd like to get a loan. I want to purchase a house. And the first question that was asked of her is, well, where is your husband? So my mother was divorced at the time, and she said, I'm divorced. I'm here. This is my bank. And she started to pull out her savings card, right? Back then, we had a passbook. And every time you made a deposit, they noted the deposit in the passbook. And the gentleman just stood up and he said, we're not going to lend money to a single woman. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for your patronage, but no, the answer is no. So we just, all three of us got up and were actually stunned. You know, how could this be happening? And it was the very first time that I saw my mother cry. And both my brother and I were absolutely distraught. And unbeknownst to us, my mother went to 3 other banks, and each time was told no. So the second bank she went to, she said that she was a widow. And they said, no, you don't have a husband. We can't lend you any money. The third bank she went to, the loan officer said, well, do you have a brother? And so my mom said, yes, but he lives in Puerto Rico. He has a family. He has his own mortgage. And the officer said, well, if you get your brother to come here and sign the papers, we will give you this loan. So that was a really big shock to the three of us. Eventually, my mom did get the loan with her brother's signature. And, you know, fast forward, I went to college, I went to grad school, and I started working with organizations that were looking at promoting women-owned businesses. And so for the past 30 plus years, I've been dedicated to what has already been said here, right? That women need access, they need opportunities. And the really good news is that we can do it. We have all of the qualifications. Everyone knows that people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. Women are really good at getting others to know them, to like them, and to trust them. And so I guess in a couple of minutes, you'll come back with another question for me where I can share some tips, and I'd be very glad to do that. Thank you for this opportunity.
Listen, this, oh my goodness, I just can't believe that story, but I'm glad that you shared it with us. It's really food for thought. Oh my goodness, we have so much work to do. Nino, it's time now. Oh my goodness. So Nino, as an advocate for women's empowerment, especially in tech, what are some of the things that you do to convince authorities to be able to create opportunities for women in tech all around the world? And please explain to us what methods have been proven to be successful in your endeavor. I like tech, I like tech, so I'm looking forward to this answer.
Okay. Well, the fact is that the only bulletproof method is that I keep knocking on the doors even when they are closed, and just don't leave the waiting room until they don't open up. But that's like a general comment. The thing is that the technology actually enables us on multiple levels to erase the gap between the genders. It's like I don't know, bloodless, emotionless algorithm that just makes decisions based on the logic and not on the bias, etc. But this is like a generally accepted opinion. But the fact is that it's very important to right now to advocate for bringing more women into this tech world, because we are creating the future and the setup of tomorrow, and we need both genders equally contributing to this process. Otherwise, in 10 plus years, we'll find ourselves living in a world which is completely made without any consideration of women's interests, priorities, needs, etc. What we do here in Georgia and beyond is that on every step of our journey, we ensure that we bring women on board. On every conference, on every meeting, governmental get-together and discussion of the laws, etc., we have a group of women for whom the number one KPI is to bring enough women. What we do is that we create alliances, even if we don't actually like each other. We don't need to like each other to work together. We understand that having another woman in the room at the same table, even if she's your competitor, is crucially important when the strategic decisions are made. I personally have worked with people who I really don't like after 6, but they are essential for me during the work hours to get to the goal that I have. I believe that this is the thing that shall unite us regardless of our background, personal beliefs, faiths, etc. And this is when we need to learn from each other. I'm very lucky that I got in my life brilliant mentors, and 2 of them are here, my fellow panelists. I learned quickly the best way to advocate for the women. And another important note that I want to make is that I myself was personally pretty late in understanding that, because I was feeling comfortable in the man-dominated world. That's true, and I can't avoid the reality. We need to learn how to support the other women behind us. And the only thing that we are actually doing now is that we are the placeholders for the ones who are coming behind us.
Yes.
Once you realize that you are here on temporary basis, and the best thing you can do is that to make sure that the one that comes after you will have an easier life and will have to struggle less in obtaining, like, sometimes even bare minimum, especially in the tech world, then you completely change your vision and your work attitude, and that's it. The thing is, in the world of technology, we need to explain more to the women that it's not something supernatural. The most common bias that we meet on every day is that women think that tech is not for them. Well, on the contrary, tech is exactly for women. Trust me, I have, I don't know, 16 plus experience of working with both genders, and last 3 years, on daily basis, I'm working with the startups, tech professionals, both genders, different ages, multiple countries. What I see is that this is exactly where we belong, because we don't need to prove ourselves through some historic experience or something. It is something where we can clear all the past that we had and create the future that we want to see. We just need to be on this train. That's the most important.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate that. What you said, but I'm coming back because there's one more question I have for you. You guys are just doing such an amazing job. Now I'm going to go now to the lone male on this panel, and you can bring it home for us, because I have a very important question that I really want to ask you. And we thank you for being here with us and your support, because it's so important to us as a male on this platform, and we want to thank you. And so my question is, Sailesh, and I really hope that I'm pronouncing your name right, because I don't want to pronounce your name wrong. But if I pronounce it wrong, please correct me. As you connect with people intentionally, do you see a major challenge in different countries in the ability to help startup companies for entrepreneurs? And is it easy to make a transition? You have worked for a long time, and I want to know, how are you able to get it done in a timely manner? You're here to support us. We appreciate your support, and we just want to know, how are you able to help these startup companies all over the world, and especially pertaining to us as women?
Dr. Anastacia, thank you so much for your time. And it is a brilliant question. I would like to really appreciate this question. First of all, I'd like to thank Linda for giving this opportunity and for being on this panel, and all my co-panelists. Thank you so much for having me on board with you. When I first sent the flyer around, my friends, my colleagues, my men boys said, "What are you doing among women?" That is the first question they asked. And I said, I'm going to learn something from them this evening over here. So it is a joy to be over here. And as for your question, yes, it is a difficult process. It's a different line of command, and especially unlike the other place of the world, I reside in a place in Middle East. And for people over here, it is challenging. The mindset is different. People come from a different culture, background, or from an upbringing. So for them to do an injection of impartation is I won't say is mission impossible, but it is a lengthy process. You got to convince them. You got to put them on the board. You got to say, hey, you know what? If he can do it, you can do it too. Don't be bothered about a gender mentality that I'm come from this denomination, or I'm come from this culture, and can I do it or no? No, you have the faith, you have the trust, you believe in yourself, and there are good people who can support you. So why not take a step? So the answer comes, what if I fall down? And I said, what if you fall down? There are people, there are good organizations who will hold you up and who will raise you up. And that being a challenge, there's always a challenge in life, be it a men's world, be it a woman's world. But again, I reiterate, coming back from Middle East background, I've been with a small testimony. I started my life when I was 10 years old. What do you expect a 10-year-old guy or a boy to understand about life? And I've come from that age, and all this experience has come from me from that age till now. I will not tell you what my age is now. We'll go for the next question. But to be in this position over here right now, to give that encouragement, and especially we are doing a program called Women's Empowerment globally for the past 10 years. For more than 10 years we are doing it, and we make sure that in our conference, in our seminar, and things like that, we need to have women over there. It's not about dominion, it's not about empowering, it's not about taking a hierarchy, it's not about giving local global status symbols and things like that. It's about you as a woman, you as a girl, you as a person can do something. I'll give you a small example. I was called by the government of Kenya about a few years back, and I was speaking. I was one of the key speakers over there, and in that wonderful place, there was one young girl who was a photographer. She was just photographing, and then at the end of the speech, I just called her, and I said, what do you want to be? So she was like stumped for the question. So I said, why are you doing this? She said, I'm doing it for money because I need to have to eat my dinner. So I said, why don't you become a professional photographer, and you can make much more than you expect, and you can be an encouragement to someone else. And that is what I call it, a woman empowerment, or that is what I call is to encourage someone. That's what I call that you got to do something more beyond you be in the men's dominion world. I'm saying men because I'm one of those fellows over here. So I'm trying to say that together we can work together. Together we can make a difference. And together, if we can remove this gender aspect aside, I'm sure we can be more than conquerors. Thank you so much.
Go straight to the head of the glass. I love your response, and we appreciate that response so much. And you, as you said, it's about empowerment. When people are empowered, they're able to make different decisions that's going to change their life. Oh my goodness, this conversation is just awesome. And so I'm going to head right back to you, Linda, because I know you wasn't finished. And so everybody has only a minute and a half, only a minute and a half everybody has, so I'm gonna go back here to you, Linda. You talked about, I'm trying to dissect something you said about 230 years. It's saying for us to have this parity. Can you give me something or some advice to jumpstart the women to help you in this fight? What else can we do? How else can we communicate effectively so that we can reduce that time?
Anastacia, in 1.5 minutes, let me just say, I have always had two philosophies. And I think that women have to start understanding that nobody, but nobody is going to buy them a crown or put it on their heads. You have to get off your butt and go out and buy your own crown and put your own crown on your head. It's really important that we start learning, and this is what I do, and I'm sure that all my colleagues are the same. What we have to learn to do is to stand up for what we want and not let other people control the narrative. I have two things that I have used as philosophies in my life. I use this expression a lot. One of them is, if I want to have a seat at the table and the table is too small, I'll sit at the head of it. If there are no chairs for me, I'll bring my own chair. Thank you very much. But I will get to that table. I will develop a strategy and I will make sure that my voice is heard. And I will persist, as Nino said, as Nancy said, as Doris said, we will persist, okay? And the other one is, I always talk about women about skipping out. When we come to the networking part of the day, women skip out. They start sneaking out of the room. They have children and fathers and mothers. Children, don't your kids have fathers? How many orphans of fathers are there in the world? If you are at an event, make sure you are there wholeheartedly. I'm sure that the dad is not going to die if he takes care of the child for one day. Stay for the networking. Stay to meet people. Stay to expand your network. Show interest in others and others will show interest in you. Expand your network. Your network is your net worth. Make sure you stay, that you are the first to arrive, the last to leave. It is really important. I consider myself a front row woman, which means that I interpret the front row as my place. And if someone tries to ask me to leave, they're going to have to use a lot of narratives to get me to leave, because I presume that if that place is reserved, then it's reserved for me. Let's stand up and expand our network.
Linda, that was phenomenal. I'm not leaving either. I'm with you. We have to network. It is so important. I'm there right with you, and I'm bringing my own chair too. Here we go. You don't know what you just started here today. Doris, you got a minute and a half. Tell me how you put these programs together. You got a minute and a half, Doris, because we have young people who need to start businesses. What does the program entail? A minute and a half, Doris. I think you're muted.
Oh,
I think she got muted out, but I'll come back to her. Nancy, let me go to you. Go dive into some of the tips, Nancy, for women.
Oh, sure. So I generally, when I talk about business development, especially if you want to scale your business, one of the quickest ways is to obtain some kind of a corporate contract, right? And corporations tell us time and again that they are always looking for 5 solutions to issues that they have. And it doesn't matter the corporation, it doesn't matter the location, it probably even doesn't matter the size of the corporation. But so I'm going to just list for you the 5 solutions and invite you as a business owner or as someone who is considering going into business to think about how you might be able to provide these solutions. So corporations are always looking for safety solutions. They want their employees to be safe. They want their clients to be safe. So what do you do in your business? What service or product do you offer that could help them meet their safety solutions. A second is sustainability solutions, right? So especially with ESG principles and the monitoring that everyone is doing about and around the ESG principles, what are the sustainability solutions you're providing to them? It could be in their supply chain. It could be with their own products or services. A third solution is efficiency. What can you bring about that will make their company more efficient, their people more efficient, the delivery of their products or services to their customers? What can be more efficient? The fourth solution has to do with training. All corporations, all businesses know that the more they train their teams on new products, new services, innovations, trends, etc., the more successful their business will be. Innovation is number 5, and that's always really important. Look at what you're doing. What can you do better than your competitors are doing? And then finally, cost is the last of the solutions, right? So corporations have told us time and again, they will go with a bid, a vendor who has a higher cost if they are providing solutions. So think about those solutions. Also do your research, right? So as you're targeting corporations, if you want to scale your business or if you want to start a business, who actually do you want to work with? And are they aligned with your own core values, your own corporate values? Showing up, Linda has mentioned that, but that's also really key to show up where your target clients are actually going, the trade shows, the events, connect with them on LinkedIn so that you can follow them. And then finally, claiming expert status. So women tend to be very shy about talking about themselves and their successes, right? Their experiences. And I always say, take a page from the book of the men around you. As soon as you meet a gentleman, when they are meeting together, they're always talking about their successes, the awards that they've received. And corporations want to do that. So those are basically 4 tips. You want to properly do your research. You want to show up. You want to claim expert status. And finally, you want to be known as a solutions provider. And as I had mentioned earlier, people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. And if you can do these 4 things, that will get them to know you, to like you, to trust you, and eventually that will get you the corporate contract.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I love those tips. I wrote them down and I'll go back and rewatch this. This was good. Let me just go back to Doris to see if she's there. Another minute and a half. Just talk briefly about your program.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. To be honest, a minute is not enough to talk about my program, but what I could talk about is how we can get more youth involved in entrepreneurship, if that's okay, Anastacia.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so, look, Linda has spoken, every one of the panelists here have spoken about how important it is to grab the opportunity and just carpe that diem. Our youth are ready. Let me tell you, youth around the world are ready. They're ready, they're hungry, they're available. What we're not doing is giving them the opportunity. We are not giving them a place at the table. We're definitely not inviting them to the boardrooms, but we need to. Why? Because youth, when you look at youth, they're the ones who are so tech savvy right now. Nino, I'm sure you will agree with me. Right now, you pick a young girl, even at the age of 8, she will already know so much more where tech is concerned than any of us adult women could ever know. And yet we are bypassing them. So the first thing that I think we need to do in order to bring more youth into the entrepreneurship table, we have to begin to start speaking to the mindsets, not the youth mindset, but the mindset of the society that surrounds them. Because society still doesn't think youth have anything to offer. but the youth do. So society has to stop realizing that we need to bring youth to this table if we're ever going to see the changes that we need to see in the world. Number two, we need to speak to the youth about the opportunities that are there in the markets. They may be hungry, yes, but depending on what part of the world they're in, they may not know what opportunities exist for them. But we must feed the hunger by telling them and making aware, we're making aware all the opportunities that they're there for them in terms of in the opportunity in the entrepreneurship space. But then also youth top notch when it comes to innovative ideas, solutions. They think outside the box. They're ready, they're eager, they're hopeful, they have the time and they have the energy. But are we creating a safe space for these ideas? Most youth are wary about giving out the ideas because they think that once I give you my idea, you run out and start your own business and leave me out of it. So we have to create spaces where youth can feel safe to share the ideas, to explore them, and to have those ideas developed into business ventures. And then last but not least, come on, guys, we need mentors. We need mentors for our youth, mentors that they can relate to, mentors who can give them success stories about how they themselves started, where they started, and the journey that brought them through to success. Because 51% of the population is youth, not just in Tanzania, but this is worldwide. Out of the 8 billion people in the world, nearly 2 billion of those are young people. These are men and women. If we do not pay attention to these statistics, then what we're saying is we're shutting our eyes on the development of the world and the future of the world. Our young girls are ready. They will be women just like ourselves. We need to teach them. We need to be their mentors. We need to hold their hands, and we need to show them the way forward. And last but not least, one thing that I do tell young people everywhere I get the chance to speak to them is that forget what you've been told in the past. It's not about doing what you're passionate about. No, it's about being passionate about what you are doing. Because sometimes what comes on your table might not be something that you love, but guess what? Go ahead, grab that opportunity and do it passionately, and you will see those doors beginning to open up unto you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doris. We appreciate that. Nino, tech, come on.
Yes.
Let's go in a minute and a half. You do tell us what are you doing? What's your next step? What are you working on now with regards to women in tech?
Okay, so first of all, before I start talking about what I do, Doris, my huge support and respect for everything that you do. I completely agree and wouldn't even change a full stop in everything that you said. Youth is key. Now, about the women in tech, what we do and how we encourage the women to join. First of all, we create the awareness. We translate the overly complicated tech world into the everyday language that they understand, and we let them feel how it would be to be in the shoes of a tech professional woman. On the other side, we create the learning opportunities. We create the education opportunities in Georgian language, because if tech is complicated on its own at some point, if you add on top the language barrier, it gets even more complicated to get on this train. And what we also do is that beyond the hard skills that they need in the tech world, we teach them the soft skills that are vital to stay and survive in the tech world, because we believe luck doesn't exist. We believe that luck only happens when you are prepared and when that preparation meets the right opportunity. So we create awareness, we prepare these girls for the tech world, both on hard skills and soft skills. And parallel to that, we work on creating the opportunities together with the companies that are there for that. So that's what we do.
That's phenomenal. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you, because this is a global project, you understand. All right. And so, Sailesh, are you still there? Or is he still there?
Yes, I am there.
Yes, give us your closing. Come on. What else you're gonna do. And like we say, being the lone male panel here, you're hearing the hearts of all the women and everything that they're doing. You know, I'm quite sure that you're all excited to continue your quest in what you're doing with regards to helping women.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Anastacia. Yes, of course, like I told you, it is very important for us to, first of all, give an education. The one point is do an education to them. The second point is, give them an encouragement. You educate them, you encourage them, and of course, if there is a monetary or financial or probably support wanted, you can support them. Number three, and number four is be consistent, with the people who require support, because there are women, there are girls who want to come up in whatever field. Could be F&B, could be tech, could be innovation, could be technology, could be garment or whatever it is, or fashion. So there, as a mentor, you educate them, you give them the support, you stand by them, and also most important is you be consistent with them. Consistency is the key, because these girls or these women or these people, they might rise, but they might fall down. But when they fall down, it is up to us. An organization like G100 or others can stand by with them and pick them up, and also tell them that no, they can do it, and there's nothing impossible when you have a will and a desire to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate this so much, and I know that our time is gone. So I just want to be able to bring our global chair up, Jennifer Randai, all the way there in Dubai, and we appreciate you for the work that you're doing as Margaret. And so I just turn it over to you. And thank you all so much for allowing us to serve this platform today.
I just wanted to, before all of us go, and I know that we're actually doing things in time. So brilliant work, Anastacia and Tanya. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Before we go, I'd like to ask Linda, my compadre and fellow global chair, to please share with us this amazing leadership summit that is coming up. I'd like to hear about it, and please tell everyone about it.
Thank you, Jennifer. How nice of you. Thank you. Yes, under our chair, we have created a leadership summit, which is for men and women, focused on women. It's focused on knowledge sharing, experience sharing. It's about the concept of holding the ladder and bringing another woman up. So we every year now we're going to take 3 subjects. Here we're talking about business innovation, about education, and about health, mostly focused on women. And we are going to have 1 full day, which is the 18th, for master classes. Everyone you see here is going to be teaching a master class of 90 minutes on negotiation, on speaking in public, on expanding your network, on learning about how to be innovative and creative. And then we're going to debate these issues, how education is changing. We're going to give some great examples of how education is changing, what we women should be worried about pensions, health schemes for women around the world, how we can support each other, the future of pensions and health, which is, we have to be part of that narrative. Don't just pretend it's not happening. We have to be part of the narrative. So join us from the 18th of May to the 20th of May in Cascais. 300 meters from the ocean is where the venue of the event is going to be. A beautiful destination, very affordable and very accessible financially, because Portugal is not an expensive country. And you'll meet all these amazing women, plus so many more. We want you live here. If you can't join us live, you can join us online. We are everywhere. We're on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Snapchat, we have a web page. Just join the G100 Leadership Summit.
Wonderful. Now that's fantastic. All I can say is that I have learned so much today from everyone here. And I feel so amazingly happy that all of us are coming together. And that's why I say our diversity truly unites us. Natalie, please come online as well. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be having this conversation. She's done a remarkable job. Tanya, Anastacia, thank you very much for taking the lead. And it's so good for me to be sitting behind and listening to all you amazing women take charge. I just love it. Linda, your team, Nancy, Sailesh, Doris, Nino, every one of you. I personally have learned a hell of a lot. And what I would like to do is, if you please review the stuff that is going to be put, it's already live now, but I'd like you all to actually put in excerpts, just a couple of bullet points of what each one of you said, because I would like to post it for it to remain in people's minds. Okay? I think that will create a massive impact. And Linda, I think hats off to you, lady. You're doing a brilliant job.
So
Thank
are
you
you,
very
Jennifer.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank
for
you.
joining
Thank
us.
you, everyone.
It's been a
Wonderful.
pleasure.
Thank you
God
so
bless.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.